Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 22 of What If Naruto Had the Rarest Bloodline. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new series over on Anime King of What If Naruto Was Told About the Uzumaki Clan from the beginning, and enjoy that guys. And remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be planning talking back to all of you. So yeah, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Neglected with Jushin sealed inside of him over on Anime King 3. And if you're new, yeah, I have 3 channels guys. You heard that correctly. Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So what is to begin this new episode, start the intro. So the last time we left off, as Naruto made his way through the village, as he heard that the Uchihas, Fukaku, and a couple were trying to make their way towards the hidden mountains, but they had to pass through the sand, so they had to pay first. Their name and their title did not get them anywhere because they were banned. Yes, they were currently banned from the village hidden in Leaf. They were no longer Uchihas by name, because Fukaku had told those men he made his way, because he got a tip on Minato. Unknown to even him, that tip was given to him by none other than the masked man, who was told by Pain to give it to him, where Minato was resided. So the man was heading up there to kill Minato along with a few other Uchihas behind him. As Naruto made his way, as he went to go and visit Suki, as they were able to use seals from the Uzumakis and the Chinunko clan, as they made Suki able to move around without having any crab members near her. As the girl was awkward as usual, doing her weird things with Naruto's hand, as she didn't really understand personal space. As Naruto was given a message that Konan and Tatsumi was here to see him, he was rather surprised by that as he made his way. Konan had removed her finger to get rid of the ring, as she was no longer tied to the Akatsuki. She couldn't even look at Naruto as she was ashamed, as Tatsumi thought that Naruto was gonna kill her, but no, as he wouldn't harm her it seemed because of her baby. He wasn't that heartless, as she could go towards the fire temple, where Wakano was waiting for her because of Minato's help, but they needed help to get there. As Konan tried to apologize, but she could see that it was no longer there. That look that he used to look at her when they were younger, when he actually used to like her, it was no longer there, as she felt absolutely miserable. She felt terrible on the inside for what she did back then, as she shouldn't have chose Nagato. She should have just gone with Naruto and Suwaki, but she did not, as Naruto said he was going to personally bring them there himself. Minato had stayed behind as he was waiting for Fukaku and the other Uchihas, as he was going to take care of them. As Naruto made his way out there, as he could feel them coming, he told Suwaki to help them get towards the fire capital. As he stood there waiting, as Nagato brought out his paths, all of them stood in front of Naruto. This was not going to be a test like back then. This was going to be a fight out to the kill, as Naruto told Nagato that he would be coming for him, the real one. As the battle started, it was dreadful. Chaos erupted all around them, as the darkness seeped from Naruto as the both of them started to clash. It was like two titans destroying the entire place. Nagato had to forcefully push out his chakra into his Rinnegan eyes, as Naruto entered his spiritual form. Nagato could barely keep up with Naruto's eyes, as the fight was titanic as Naruto destroyed some of his paths. Their fight created a lot of destruction and chaos all around, destroying everything. Nagato was able to pull Naruto towards him in a last-ditch effort of hope. With his human path destroyed, Nagato switched the path functionality into Tendo as he grabbed Naruto tight as he activated Jutsu to rip out his soul. So yeah guys, that was basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across to the PlayStation check out for yourself. So this is begin this new episode. At the moment, 500 miles away from the fire capital, in Yumiko Forest, Suwaki spotted Orochimaru patiently, sitting on the ground with his legs crossed. Akatsuki robes rustled as he got to his feet as he smiled at the vampire. "Took you long enough." Suwaki looked up to the flying sheets of paper as she shouted, "Keep going!" Konan looked over the edge as she nodded, as she made the paper soar forward towards the fire capital. Tatsumi shouted as he flew away, "Give him hell!" As Suwaki rolled her eyes, "You know, you could have declined," Orochimaru said. He pulled off his robe and threw it away, not caring much about where it was, as he was in his shinobi outfit underneath. Suwaki's eyes narrowed as she sensed more than one heart inside of him. 51 to be exact. "So the Akatsuki was after the Jinko," she said, frowning. "For a brat, you sure are smart," said Orochimaru. "Can you also guess why I chose you to be my opponent?" Suwaki smirked as her canines grew out. "You want to die by my hands, obviously. You're biting off more than you can chew, Orochimaru. I take it your teacher didn't teach you common sense," he scoffed. "Well, it doesn't matter. Try not to die so easily, Suwaki," he said. "Do not say I didn't warn you," she said to him. Meanwhile, 3 men standing about 10 feet apart block the dozens of Dark Country Jonin team made up of BLAK operatives and normal shinobis. Toby with his Sharingan spinning his eye as he was laid back on a tree. Hidan with his 3-pronged sight. And finally Kisame with Samihata grip in his hand. The sword was fully unfurled. And it was large as Kisame, yet Kisame didn't show any strain of holding it. It was a long tongue that came from the lips of the sword, shivering in anticipation. The 3 Akatsuki shinobis, S-rank in their own right, face down over 80 shinobis that wanted to get past and made their way towards where Naruto and Suwaki had disappeared to, as they heard the explosions coming from where Naruto was battling the 6 paths of pain. Those shinobi, a small size of Naruto actual shinobi forces, were in their fighting stance. Some of them had their fists, their weapon raised. One shinobi stood in front of them, ready to bomb rush them to get towards her leader. And that was Kushina Uzumaki. Kushina Uzumaki, stubborn as the day that she was born, refused to stay in bed and watch the world fall apart, was dressed in her full shinobi gear. Her straight, bright red hair went down her shoulders, held together by her headband, with 2 bangs coming down to her chin. She wore a Jonin vest and had a large scroll strapped to her back so it did not injure her. Blade motion if she wanted to draw her blade from over her shoulder, as her eyes flicked from each and every one of them. A small invisible smirk flashed in her face as she saw the small, twinkling Kisame eyes. Toby and Hidan and Kisame were directed to lead these shinobis into the desert. What they didn't know, the 2 members, was that this was all for a show. And the Dark members had already been given their orders. The smoke sea that Naruto made Samihata swallow months ago had gave Kisame his orders. Their orders weren't to rescue their leader or to lend their support. Kisame turned his head towards Hidan, who had a bloodthirsty grin, ready to tear through the shinobis. "Hey priest," said Kisame, "what is this sharp piss? Can't you see the sacrifices before me? Don't you know Lord Judgment is waiting? Hurry up and spit it out immediately. You want to know something?" "What?" said Hidan. Kisame shrugged carelessly as he spoke. "I never liked you." As Samihata stretched out and snapped over Hidan's upper body, swallowing it with a piece of his sight as well. It happened just like a cobra would strike. It took a few dark shinobis unaware. The loyalty of the man of the woman of darkness shinobis. They did not waver, or did they fearfully step back. The legs wobbled as they fell over. Samihata sucked the chakra that was inside of Hidan, using it to enlarge its jaw and bite and crush down his body. It would be possible that he would be alive after a thorough digestion like that, but there wouldn't be any hope of him getting back to his full, person. As Toby leaped away, as Samihata also swallowed the legs, doing so without Kisame even moving his arm. As Kisame chuckled, "I never liked you either," said Kisame as he stepped forward towards Toby. A section of the Dark Shinobi made their way around Toby and stopped him from retreating, while a group of them appeared behind Kisame. As Kisame snarled, "You will regret insulting Leader Naruto." He raised his left hand, his free hand, as he flicked it into Kurono, the Dark Country hand sign. Half of the Fuinjutsu masters behind Kisame and behind Toby clapped their hands together while the rest threw out a complex seal array that surrounded the place. The seal masters, Kushina included, shouted out, "Fuinjutsu art, chakra storage, purgatory seal." Toby switched to his Mangetsu as a wall surrounded them, trapping them inside. And he could not flee. As Toby stood there, Naruto and his seal masters could not understand the concept of chakraless teleportation, like how Kisame had described to Suwaki how the masked man had tried to recruit him while he was in Kiri, or how the woman had described how she was placed under the Kodemasukami, how the man just appeared in front of her. But Naruto and his people knew that the masked man would try to use that jutsu in his favor to escape when things wasn't going his way, and they couldn't afford to let him escape. Who knows when he would show his face once again, or how strong he might be. That is why he needed to be dealt with when they had the chance, and this was their chance. The seal that they just placed up was an expanded version of the storage seal that was used to store away items. It latched onto the chakra signatures that were currently inside of it and sealed them away into a separate dimension of their own. It was separate from any other dimension. On the outside, the sealing masters placed their scroll down on pedestals. Inside, Tobi and Kisame were. They did not understand the chakra-like teleportation, but they did understand that all creatures on this earth were bound to the earth and life by their chakra. There was no such thing as a person or animal without chakra. The seal that they used lashed themselves to Tobi and Kisame chakra and seal them away. They will only unseal it when they were alerted by the seals that only the person with a large water affinity chakra remain. But if not, they would just burn all the scrolls, and the masked man would be trapped in that dimension forever. Back inside, Kisame placed a large Samehata right on top of his shoulder. Tobi's Sharingan was spinning fast as he glanced around for any weak spots. He turned to Kisame as he spat. I figured that he would be the one to betray us. He unsealed a short sight that was attached to a chain that was attached to a tonto as he dropped into a fighting stance. You still refuse to see the truth. Don't act like you're surprised. You knew that this was coming. Meanwhile, Konan swept Tasumi up in a bridal carry, trying her best not to cause any harm to her belly, as she leaped off her paper as bombs rained down from the heaven. Papers flooded from her back, creating wings as she was blown a bit, but she steadied herself in mid-air as she soared as quickly as she could into the gates of Fire Capital. They were so close. As she tucked Tasumi near her body, covered her with the papers to protect her, she barrel rolled to the right, avoiding another flock of suicide birds that came down and exploded. Stay still, Deidara said. Sorcery, who was seated close beside him, spoke. Get me to her. Working on it as he released more birds, but they had spiders attached to their bodies. Hold on a second, Konan said, as Tasumi wrapped her arms around Konan's neck and braced for the impact. The spiders landed on Konan's back, and they exploded. A blizzard of paper appeared on the drill beat bird that Deidara was on, as Konan emerged, still holding on to Tasumi bridal style. Deidara smirked as he slammed his hand down. The feathers came up and stabbed Konan and Tasumi. Easy, said Deidara as he was about to turn and support Orochimaru until the two paper clones break apart. As they were explosive as they attached themselves to Deidara and Sorcery, they fizzle. Sorcery kicked open the back of Hiro. Boom! The explosion went off. Paper gathered up in the sky, reforming Tasumi and Konan. Holy crap, Tasumi said as her bones rattled from the blast. As fire rained down from the blast zone, the black smoke in the air. As they watched, nothing is ever as it seems, said Konan, whispering for only Tasumi to hear. Yes, she had created a confetti bomb from her body and shaped them into identical clone of her and Tasumi. But she and the woman had also hidden under the clay bird until Deidara, our sorcerer, properly attacked. Avoiding the explosion was the hard part. She sacrificed thousands of her paper explosive to take the brunt of the blast, while she used her body to shield Tasumi. As she looked down towards Inuyasha, are you okay? I'm fine, I'm good, she said. She faltered a bit. She usually wasn't shaking up. Was it the hormones? Good, we're not done yet. She grunted as her wings bat away a set of poison sandbombs that was sent up towards them. As she looked down, these kids don't know when to give up. Kids, said Tasumi. Yes, I am much older than them. She looked down towards Tasumi with a brief sparkle of laughter. I'm older than you too, you know? As she was trying to keep Tasumi calm in the situation. But Tasumi did not believe her, not knowing that Konan was the same age as Naruto, and Tasumi just turned 22 last week. You're not older than me, Konan. As Konan laughed at that. Thank you, Tasumi, she said. Not understand that she just complimented her. Tasumi shrugged. Okay. As she had the blade. Do you want me to call Minato? Being a level 10 seal master, Minato was able to place the Hiroshin seal on the Raijin blade. Konan shook her head. These two are what we call small fries, she said, as she brought her wings in, tucking over to the side, avoiding a volley of sandbombs. By now, the capital defenses must be alerted and they're closing in on us. I just need to get you into running distance of them, and all you need to do is tell them your name and show them Raijin again. Minato said that they will know who you are. Tasumi nodded, as she knew that she was in no state to fight right now. or risk getting Minato involved if he was already caught up in something. But she asks, Minato and the Fire Lord are pretty close. Konan grunted as he dispersed her lower body as Senbons passed by her, as Konan wondered why wasn't Leader attacking her anymore. She shook her head as she focused back. Seems to be the case. Has he ever? As she dodged Iron Sand, Sasori wasn't playing around anymore. He helped with the rebellion when they were younger. Minato was tuning, I think. He doesn't talk about her much though. He said that he hadn't spoken since he left Konoha. He wouldn't have me bring you there if he did not trust her. I'm worried, it's all. As they went down towards the ground. Run to the capital and don't look back, as the alarms were blazing. As she took the Raijin blade off her and handed it to Tasumi. Sirens. Change pitch that signified that your forces were coming. Don't forget, tell them who you are and show them the sword. Minato's relationship with the Fire Lady had been made public by her. Yes, it was Wakano. It was her way of showing that even if Minato was, well, a criminal right now, he was still her close friend, and he should also consider her as well. As the Fire Lady did not know Tasumi's relationship with Minato, but the Raijin blade was the only thing that Minato took from the vault, so she could put two and two together as she saw a pregnant lady coming with it. Konan smiled as Tasumi nodded. Go now, I'll cover you. Meanwhile, Tasumi cracked her fist into Orochimaru's face, breaking his nose, as a earth spike nearly impaled her, as she had hardened her blood though, so it just grazed her commander jacket, as she pulled out a couple of blood Senbons. As she spun them around, as she deflected a couple of Orochimaru water bullets from his water mask. More earth spikes burst from the ground, trying to rip into her body. That water mask was a light blue snake with an eyeless mask covering his face. There were 10 water affinity hearts inside the snake, and that one had just slippered out of Orochimaru's elbow. Orochimaru smirked as he ignored his bleeding nose as he shot back towards her. Her heart was the last ingredient that he needed. Her vampire immortality would do nicely. His back burst open as black threads wiggled behind him. Suwaki tucked her legs back as she rolled away from the haymaker that came from Orochimaru, as she twisted and threw the medical needles as she placed her hand into the ram seal. Needles whisked towards him as another snake came out of his elbow. This one was completely red, wearing a faceless mask as well. As Orochimaru saw the Senbon separating the ear, he called, Fire Release, Multiple Phoenix, Flame Darts, Hidden Arts, Vampire Blood Release, said Suwaki. Undead Forest of Cardiac Arrest. The Senbons slammed right into the fire darts as they burst into a red mist as Suwaki went through hand sign again. Orochimaru flashed through hand sign. Wind release, great wind breakthrough, he says, he blew away the mist that would mess up his entire system if it got too close to him. He shifted his head aside as Suwaki's fingers passed his neck as they were about to stab right into it, but he shifted his head just in time. He spun around and slammed his foot into her side, but she burst into blood mist. A pillar of earth he created rose him up off the ground, taking him away from the blood mist so it wouldn't get in his system. He looked down as he grind his teeth angrily. The entire place was surrounded with blood mist as it was moving like it was alive, twisting and turning. The more he tried to blow it away, the more it grew. Could he have bitten off more than he can chew? Possibly. The earth pillar that kept him up cracked as the blood mist was eating away at it. He quickly unsealed a gas mask from a seal on his neck as he put it on and dived down below. He met Suwaki at the end of the pillar, an excited grin on his face. I wasn't expecting this much of a fight, especially not from Naruto's brat, he said. Suwaki crumbled into nothing as she merged with the blood mist. As Orochimaru turned around cautiously, as he stayed wary of his surroundings, making sure he wasn't caught off guard. The blood mist could not pass through his pores because of his altered body. He was careful to not leave his nose, his eyes, or his mouth open though, because if that thing got inside of him, it was all over. Hence, the gas mask. The place was incredibly quiet. Orochimaru brought out something. A silver canister. It was like a spray bottle with 2 nozzles. Orochimaru glanced around. Can you guess what these are? He said. As Orochimaru dodged, as his throat was almost grabbed, as he dropped the canisters after releasing them. As Suwaki came up with a spinning kick, but the new white mist that sprayed out of the canisters hit her in the face. Purple-green veins crawled up her neck as blood leaked from her ears. As she hacked and clawed at her chest, violent hives broke out on her head and on her face. As her breathing became tight and strained, as she gasped for any air. It was garlic. She gasped for breath to control her bloodline to reduce the effect of her extremely allergic reaction to garlic. Orochimaru snickered as he was standing over her as he plunged the Kusanagi right in her chest. Meanwhile, massive paper shurikens swerve around the iron block that the third Kazekage-san brought up. Ninja art origami shrapnel bomb. The shurikens blew up, but not with the explosion. A massive burst of wind with the sharp shrapnels. Sasori cursed as the Kazekage puppet refused to move as he was impaled, as the papers were launched in its important primary joints, as Konan smashed her leg right in the thing's chest, before she dissolved into paper as the ground beneath her exploded. Damn it, said Deidara as he got up, shaking his head. She had given him a rather nasty kick to the temple. I'm still in this, he said. Out of the flames, 20 Konans flap out with their origami wings as they dash towards Sasori. Meanwhile, shark summons rain down on Toby. His Mangekyo Sharingan swirl, working overtime to avoid getting teared to pieces as he bent down and Samehada sail over his head as he ducked under all the sharp spikes. He crashed into Kisame, trying to slam his hand right into his abdomen. Kisame twirled to the side as he lashed out a spotted kick right to the man's mass. But Toby rolled to the left as he leaped, missing the jaw of a shark summon that nearly ripped him in half. His feet landed, but the moment he did, he had to leap back up in the air, dodging 3 more shark summons, flipping away as he landed. Toby huffed as he grunted. Enough of this! He crossed his forearms, and a glowing red rib cage covered him, proving to be stronger than the sharks. A skull popped out of the top, one bearing a single horn on the left side, as it had its own pair of Mangekyo Sharingan eyes. Pair of arms shoot out of the sides. The legs did not form though, but the thing swung its arms around, smashed and tearing through the sharks. He brought the incomplete Susanoo fist forward as he smashed it into Kisame. Samehada snapped at the fist as Kisame pulled the handle. As Kisame refused to let go, and so did Samehada, there was a crack as the Susanoo arm started to dislocate. He deconstructed the Susanoo in seconds as he reconstructed in another second as he sent some blows towards Kisame. Kisame used Samehada as he blocked the blows. As he saw a small opening, he used Samehada to prop himself up as he flipped. Samehada lashed out and locked right on the elbow. No you don't, Toby says. He grabbed Samehada with the arm of his Susanoo that grabbed onto it tight. Kisame flipped through one-handed signs. Water release. 5 eating sharks. Sharks were created as they beat down on Susanoo. As Toby saw that Kisame was trying to free Samehada from the grip that his Susanoo had on it, as he muttered a single word. Amaterasu, he said, as black flames engulfed the entire area. Meanwhile, Konan looked down towards Sasori, as the man was trying to crawl away. His wooden legs were missing, dragging Deidara by the back of his shirt. She looked down towards Deidara, panting form. You're 40 years too early to test me with explosive, as she released her hold on him, as she also dropped a piece of paper and walked off. Thud. As the mad bomber torso was enveloped as he got evaporated, leaving him as a pair of arms, chomped up legs and a charred head. Bombs don't just explode, she said. He was too impatient to know that though. Surrounding them, Konan and what was left of Sasori was hundreds of pieces of puppets. Searching for anything to defend himself with, he launched his arm as she tilted her head to send one past her. The man fell onto his back. How? He said. She looked down towards him. Your fighting style just aren't suited against mine. She tapped his chest and hummed. Those bombs in there won't work either. She might not look like it, but Konan was the Akatsuki explosive expert. She was an evasive fighter, capable of shifting her body in the drop of a second to paper and reassembling herself quickly as well. Her inspiration for that, changing her body so quickly and retouching herself, was the same person that can turn his body into smoke and back again. Naruto. Sadness floated in her eyes as she placed her hand on Sasori's chest. She tore off the Akatsuki robe over his torso as she saw what she wanted to see. My heart seal. Once it's inactive, my bombs automatically go off, he said. Your paper ninjutsu won't help you. Have you forgotten, she said. I don't need to be present to blow you up. She took off the rose that was on her hair as she placed on his chest. If you want to prolong your suffering, then you're free to throw it away. She stood up and made her way towards the capital. Half a mile away, the bomb went off, swallowing the entire area. Meanwhile, Orochimaru grabbed Suwaki by the back of the head as he forced her to look in his eyes. Her cheeks were frailing. Blood was leaking from her nose. Her eyes were limp at her side. Her eyelids fluttered with sleep. Her poisonous blood mist flowed into the earth, and he was gone. Orochimaru took off his gas mask as he had a bright smirk on his face as he pushed the Kusanagi further into her chest. She coughed, blood seeping out of her lips. Don't worry, he said, that smirk. I didn't puncture your heart, just a major artery, as he ran his hand through her white hair, which was splashed with a few drops of blood. It's disappointing how the Seikomi branch family of the Tsunewiki clan are so vulnerable to garlic. Cliche if I do say so myself. Orochimaru was very resourceful in finding information, especially when darkness was oppressed by Konoha in the Third Great Shinobi War. There was a lot to find out, a lot to study back then. His curiosity made him find out about the Seikomi clan, which Suwaki was from, that was a distant relative from the Chuninka clan, about her weakness to garlic. Such a powerful clan brought down by such a mundane cooking ingredient. Suwaki hand came up and grabbed the blade as her fingers wrapped around it, as it cut into her palm as it bled. She gasped, unable to yank the blade off her body, unable to turn away from him because her body was that weak. I was the one that found out your clan weakness, and I was the one that laced the Seikomi clan water with garlic. I enjoy watching your family fall, Orochimaru said, with a twisted smile. They squeal like pigs. Well, it was a good thing you and your parents did not die. If you had died back then, I won't be here to take your wonderful heart. I doubt that Nagato brat can kill Naruto, but that's good. I want to be the one to rip his heart out of his chest. Stop talking, said Suwaki, as a small smirk came on her face as she spoke. Your breath, it stinks. Orochimaru chuckled. You're so much like Naruto. It's a shame. Time to die. Any last words? Just two, she said, as Orochimaru looked rather amused. And what might they be? As she reached up and touched his cheek. Summoning jutsu. Orochimaru's eyes widened as he realized the blood that was leaking from her palm. It did not drop onto the ground. It was being reversed over to a seal on her left wrist. Poof! A slimy, black and red salamander came out of the smoke and chomped down on Orochimaru's stomach. The man threw himself back as he cried out in pain. Orochimaru tried to grab the thing, but the thing was too slimy, as the thing tear into his stomach and was going inside. Orochimaru's eyes widened in fright. Salamander had cure, and also poison in their veins, as he could switch it just like that. The first thing they hit as Salamander pushed his head inside Orochimaru's stomach was paralysis, his hands trembling as he was unable to move. His sense of gravity was then thrown off, as he was unable to think clearly, unable to breathe properly, unable to even stand as he fell. His body then started to spasm everywhere as he was shaking. His body then tightened to the point where his brain started to deflate a bit, as a strange goo from his brain went down into his eyes as he cried out, a painful streak coming from his throat. Blood leaked from his eyes and nose and ear as the summon bit into his left lung. As he heard his lungs collapse, unable to scream, the inside of his body bubbled with heat as it flooded up to his skull, and his brain felt like it was being melted. The Jienko tried to run away as the salamander ate it, as Orochimaru lay there in agonizing pain. Meanwhile, Suwaki dropped her aside as her hands wrapped around the blade. As she coughed up blood, the salamander paused and turned around towards her. The creature came over and its tongue pierced her lips slightly as she licked her lips. The moment she did, she threw up as a green liquid came from inside of her. The salamander moved forward, making a strange sound as he grabbed the handle of Kusanagi as he tried to pull, but he was too small. As Suwaki grabbed onto the blade, she ripped it out of her chest as she panted for breath. As she was freed of the poisonous blade, as she spat on the blade, I'll melt you later. Her bloodline started to stabilize her system. With that blade inside of her, she wasn't able to focus on her bloodline because the blade was poisoned, but now that it was gone, she could calm herself and restable her bloodline, getting rid of the poison inside of her, all of it. Given his first wife, the salamander summon, wasn't a part of Naruto's plan. He merely wanted a capable ally with Suwaki and Kushina just in case he couldn't get to them, but it was a really good idea. Suwaki made her way towards Orochimaru, who was lying on the ground, spread eagle just staring up at the sun. She fell onto her knees next to his head as she tasted his blood. Orochimaru's eyes flickered towards her face. A long, excruciating groan came from his mouth as their positions were switched. The salamander climbed on top of her head and looked down towards Orochimaru. Superb, said Suwaki. You said something about my family. Squealing like pig as a smile came on her face, a wicked, cruel smile. It reminded him of Naruto before he began torture. As Orochimaru shivered straight down to his soul. Don't be too shy to squeal, okay? Meanwhile, Dark Country medics carried off Kisame back towards the village. His body was wrapped in bandages, and a little that could be seen in his eyes and his mouth were charred black. He had 4th-degree burns. He was lucky to be alive. Samihata wasn't so lucky. When they had poured water on the black fire to no avail, they sealed it away to be studied later. But Samihata had been burned to a crisp. Samihata had used his handle that Kisame was holding onto to throw him out of the way. But the fire had dropped onto Kisame as well and kept on spreading. The black fire had burned through the separate dimension, like a paper with regular fire going through it. The masked man used that moment to escape. He had quickly sucked himself away in an invisible vortex, not willing to risk it. Kushina jogged beside her friend stretcher as they helped him towards safety. There wasn't much they could do to help Samihata, except for pushing chakra into the blade. As they had done a smaller stretcher, they do what they could. The sword wasn't even strong enough to push out his scales to repel those foreign hands. Meanwhile, back to the fight that would seem to end it all. Yaiko's fingers reached towards Naruto's skull as he touched it. Soul Eater. That was the point as Naruto completely disappeared from his sight. Naruto had reached the pinnacle of his white noise technique. If he pushed himself further, he would venture into silent night. The Deva pad turned as a kick slammed into the side of his skull. As he looked around, he saw nothing at all. Then a blade cut through each of his arms, breaking the last pad down. Severs over his body was yanked and ripped out without mercy. The last thing Naruto did was stab his pinky finger and his pointer finger into the Rinnegan orbs. That last connection that Nagato had out there vanished, and he could not see the battlefield anymore. Naruto's body became visible as he caught Yaiko's body. His eyes returned back normal, and the tentacles went back into his body. As he placed the body on his shoulder, Yaiko's burial was long overdue. "Let's get you home, buddy," he said. As he made his way, he wasn't in any hurry to get to the rain. Nagato wasn't going anywhere. As he made his way, the rain started to clatter amongst his body. As he held Yaiko on his shoulder, the people talked amongst themselves in hushed whispers as he surrounded the ghost. Yet they gave him way to walk towards Akage's tower. Some took Yaiko's dead body off of Naruto as he held it behind him, giving him respect for both him and Yaiko, as they were two of the 5 people that liberated the Hidden Rain from Hanzo the Salamander. As Naruto looked towards the people's faces, their hope has seemed to have been lost, but seeing him, there was some small shivers started to shine through. The people murmured their greetings as they saw him. As he greeted back them, the sounds became louder and there was excitement running through the people. Some of them even reached out as they tried to touch him, believing that he was a deity, and a humble touch from him, yes, it would bless them. Young and old, shinobis and kunoichi welcomed the ghosts back to the Hidden Rain. Meanwhile, the clatter of rain pettled down on the window as Nagato was there. As Naruto opened the door, as he told the ninjas holding on to Yaiko's body to stay back, as he clicked the door behind him shut, there was a king-sized bed dead center in the middle of the room. The room had a lavish purple carpet and red light wallpaper. There really wasn't much else. Nagato was not one for designing. As Naruto stood there, lying on the bed and turned away from him, was a red hair, pale body. The person at the lower half covered with a green blanket. The upper half was shirtless, with black receivers. As Naruto sighed as he sat down, he hadn't had any rest from the battle, as he sat down on a bed that was really comfortable. As Nagato breathed in and out, as nothing was said between them, until Naruto spoke. "Remember the time that Konan stole Sake from Jiraiya, and dare you to drink the drug?" A smile came in the corner of his eyes as he heard a falter in the person breathing, almost like a chuckle. "You remember, don't you, Naga?" "Yeah, I think so. We were 11, right? You guys never let me forget." Nagato said in a raspy voice. Naruto bobbed his head with a small smile. "2 sips and you were already shit-faced. You were chewing on your underwear and flirting with your sandals like they were twins." That's not true." As Naruto shook his head, "You were always a lightweight, Naga. Jiraiya's Sake was just too strong, that's all." Naruto scoffed. That old pervert always bought cheap, watered down Sake. "If you're looking for the strong stuff, you should have tried Snaddies." As Nagato laughed. "Not unless you want me in a coma, Naru." I'm angry with Konan," Naga said. Naruto. "What did she do?" Nagato asked. "She admitted that she was playing with me. We were kids, Naruto." "You know what I mean," said Naruto. "Well, do you want to be angry with her?" "Konan is my friend. Best friend. Her, you and Suwaki. I don't want to be mad at any of you. To be honest, I don't trust you or Konan. Right now I'm thinking whether or not to kill you." Nagato breathed in and breathed out. "I know you heard this a lot from her, Naru, but I'm sorry. My whole life has been one big screwed up disappointment. This whole self-pity routine is not working," said Naruto. "I've already heard it all from Konan, but go on. Maybe you have some new material. I mess up everything I touch. I know I mess up Yaiko's dream. Our dream. Why did you let that guy use you?" "Zetsu or Mother Uchiha," said Nagato. Guessing that was their names, Naruto shrugged. "Both of them. Truth is, I was tired of wars, of fighting, of watching good people die. As his bed sheets rustle, as the man turned himself onto his back, I only wanted peace for once. I only wanted peace. It doesn't make what you've done any better, said Naruto. You listened to those strangers over us, your friends. Me, Konan, Suwaki. We kept on telling you it's a bad idea, and I regret not listening. Damn it, Nagato, Naruto said, as he looked towards his friend. Look what happened to you. When was the last time you ate? When was the last time you were in the sun? When was the last time you looked into a mirror and realized, what the hell are you turning into? Nagato sighed. The god complex that he put on in front of the Akatsuki was a face, and now that you were no more, he didn't bother with it. As Naruto released a breath, no sensible person wants war, and no sane person wants to fight forever, Nagato. When we formed the Akatsuki, the only purpose was to keep the peace in the Hidden Rain. We never gave a damn if everyone else around us war with himself, as long as the Hidden Rain was happy. As Naruto had used the same mentality with darkness. During the Third Great Shinobi War, Naruto made sure that darkness was not involved. It extended outwards towards darkness allies, Kiri, the Sand, Uzu, and the river, and those 4 other places became safe spots from the carnage of war. Akatsuki is no more. Konan has defected. You have your own thing going on. Suwaki is living her life. Yaiko is dead. I am not even fit to be the ruler of the Hidden Rain. These people deserve better. No, you're not fit to be the Kage. But unfortunate for you, you are the Kage. Those people love you for reasons best known to them. You still have time to redeem yourself. You're not here to kill me. Not after I saw how much those people depend on you. I had a moment of realization. There was a slight pause as he spoke. I won't let you down, Naru. Never again. Don't. Think about me, Nagato. Think about your people. Let me think about mine. As Nagato asks, what of Konan? She might still be with Kasumi. If she decides to come to my country, I won't turn away. It's all up to her. Would she ever forgive me? Again, it's up to her. Yeah, said Nagato. I will see if I can convince my people to set up shops in the Hidden Rain. We can talk about passports and tourist accommodations, but I will have to see how trustworthy the Hidden Rain first is. It might take years though. Naruto. Said Naruto. Madara Uchiha took my right eye as he brushed his right bang away. As Naruto saw the hollow eye socket. What? As Naruto looked towards him, I was too weak to fend him off. Look at me, he said. As Naruto thought about it, that could only mean Kisame did not succeed. Nagato did not venture to how Naruto had spanned his ranks. How could you be so calm about this? You just lost an eye. A Rinnegan eye to some crazy Uchiha who called himself Madara Uchiha. It could be worse. As Naruto rubbed his hand through his face. And how? Tell me, how could he get worse than that? A grin came on his face. He could have gotten both of my eyes. As Naruto groaned, will you ever grow up? Dude, I'm 40, said Nagato, as he forced himself to sit up on the headboard. If I haven't grown up now, I might never. Naruto sighed, alright, of course. I see. As he punched Nagato right in the face. As he got off the bed. Dumbass. Naruto stretched, why do I feel so old? You look old as well, said Nagato, as his Rinnegan flicked over Naruto. I don't know how I can help find that guy. All my paths. As his eye lit up though. I still have my Naruto, an animal path. Madara Uchiha has your other eye, so we have to assume that you have them as well. Just sit tight. I'll find that guy and get your eye back. As he looked around the room. Do you have a phone I can use? He asked. Time skip. This is it, boss. A rain ninja said, showing Naruto a phone booth outside the Kage Tower. As Naruto smiled at Shinobi and directed him. Thank you, he said. As he went inside was an old school rotating dial phone. Dark Country had more smaller phones than this. There was also phone booths around the place as well. But at the moment, Equinox, a communication company, was creating mobile phones. It was scheduled to come out next year. The man bowed as he left. As Naruto searched his pockets but he couldn't find any coins. His eye brightened. Collective call. As he pulled out a pad and he flipped through it. As he saw the number he was looking through and typed in, registering that no money had been paid into the booth. The phone. Company at the Hidden Rain registered that it was a collective call. An expensive one. Saying that it was international. As it rang, it requested his name, Naruto, he said. As he waited, he then heard it click. Sensei, Suwaki said, speaking from a landline in their home. Collective call? Really? I know you have the money, Naruto Sensei, she said. I don't have any coins, Su, he said. Any injuries? Nothing that won't heal, she said, as she ran a hand across her chest, where her stitched-up wound was. Her regeneration could not heal the wound because she was in her allergic state, and she had to call to a medic to help her. Oh, and I killed Orochimaru. I hope you don't mind. Is that so? Said Naruto as he said so casually. Yep. I pushed the Kusanagi up his... Oh no, said Naruto, amused as she wanted to give him Orochimaru's last moments on the phone. Save it until I get home. Where are you anyway? I'm in the hidden rain, said Naruto. The rain? As she leaned on the wall. Did you kill Nagato? Sadly no, I couldn't bring myself to do it, he said. Another problem has come up though. That masked man stole one of Nagato's Rinnegan. That nutjob has a Rinnegan? Said Suwaki. Yep, and Nagato doesn't know where he is. Are you sure that he's not lying? You should know how much Nagato loved the Rinnegan. I'm pretty sure that he's trying to use the one that he has to find the other one. Okay, if you say so. What do you want me to do? Orochimaru has a lab here, and I'm hoping to find the blood sample for that masked man that called himself Madara Uchiha. By the way, of course, she said. I'll call a Kitsune scout to take it to you. Do what you can to track, but do not engage. At most tag him, but do not engage. Report back to me if you find him. Yes, Sensei. If I can't get a blood sample from the lab, I'll get some trace DNA from Nagato. I sample, and you partner up with Komodo Dragon to find him. What if he disappears again? Let me worry about that, said Naruto. All you have to do is find his last known location. I'll take it from there. He tapped his chin. Where's Kushina? She's with Kisame in the hospital. At the unasked questions he spoke. Kisame has 4th-degree burns, and Samihata took the worst of it. They're thinking of putting Samihata down. That's Kisame's decision, said Naruto. Sensei, the poor thing is suffering and Kisame is in a coma. He's stable, but the doctors don't know when he's gonna wake up. It's for Kisame, said Naruto. None of us can make that decision. Tell the doctors to do what they can do until Kisame wakes up. And if nothing has changed, then give Kisame the option. Understood, said Naruto. Yes, Sensei. Anything for you? So, I'm sorry. No, it's fine. The sword is Kisame's first companion. It's not our place to put it down. Thanks for understanding, he said. Until you send the sword samples, is there anything you want me to do? Send some of your people to check on Konan and Tasumi in the capital. Make sure they're okay. She nodded to herself. Anything else, she asked. Have you heard anything about Minato? Nothing, she said. The shinobis that were following Fukaku has sent word back that they reached Clover Mountain, Minato's home. But nothing since then. I've told the spies to return. That's odd, said Naruto. It is, she said. Do you want me to send someone to Clover Mountain to check on Minato? What do you think we should do, Suwaki, he said. As he asked her. For Tasumi's sake, I think we should get some people to check on him. Both Naruto and Suwaki respect the fact that Minato was going to be a good father, as the man had no intention of fleeing. He wanted to take care of his pregnant girlfriend, and Konan respected that as well, as they were all under the thing to know that women with their child, pregnant mothers, were not supposed to be harmed, and kids as well. You're right, said Naruto. If there's anything we can do to help, we will. I'll give the order, she said. Talk to you later. Wait, Sensei, she said. After you send the samples, what are you going to be up to, she asked. I am tired of Madara Uchiha always having the upper with that dojutsu of his. Quite frankly, it's getting out of hand, and I regret not doing something about it long ago. I'll be heading to Konoha to find out as much Sharingan secrets as I can from the Uchiha clan, said Naruto. I doubt they will just hand over their secrets, she said. I'll find a way to weasel it out, said Naruto. If you need my help busting heads open, you know what to get me, she said. As Naruto closed his eyes and chirped, kiss for good luck, he said. She tapped her chin playfully. I don't feel like it. Kiss yourself, wise guy. Oh, better yet. Come and get it, she said. You're tempting me, Sue, he said, in a feral voice. As she looked towards the door, just feel that tingle of him just kicking open the door and come to get her. If you come now, I can get Kushina back home as well. How about this? When all this is over, me, you, Kushina go on a holiday. No, whole bar. Anywhere you want, he said. Deal, she said. See you later, Sue, he says. He cut the call before she could seduce him anymore. As Naruto tapped another number. As he called his name once again as his male assistant took the call. I hope you don't mind, Shinzo. I don't have any coins on me, just notes. Not at all, Lord Naruto, he said. Put me on speaker, said Naruto. Shinzo pressed the button and placed it down. Esuka, can you hear me? The female assistant nearly jumped as her boss called her by name. Yes, Lord Naruto. Loud and clear. I need you both to do a few things for me while I'm out of the country. Anything you want, Lord Naruto, said Esuka. I'm not sure when I'll be back, so listen closely. Have a kid soon. Scout, come to the hidden rain to retrieve something from me, said Naruto. Esuka, you go and tell Dr. Yumura to look after Kisame. Also, tell him to do what he can do to look after and help Samihata. He can invite any specialists that he thinks that can make a difference. Suwaki is gonna send out some ninjas to our fire country. Shinzo, I want you to go and buy a new landline and give it to that team. They are to hand it over to Konan when they get to the fire capital, so we can communicate better with them. Understand me so far? Yes, sir, the both of them said. Esuka, Put Makoto, Gato, and Nanako, Hoto, on notice that there might be an attack from the masked man any moment from now on. Tell them it's a Class D threat. They will know what to do. Shinsu, Ginko, Susumibiki should also know about the Class D alert. That will be all, said Naruto. Consider it done, my lord Naruto. We will get to it immediately. Thanks for the hard work, you guys, said Naruto. Time skip. Some minutes later, some random back alley. Hey there, little guy, said Naruto as he ruffled the kitsune ears. As the thing yipped and yipped, it had small, fluffy 5 tails behind it. Are you here for the message, he said as the thing yipped once again. You're here for the message, huh? As it nuzzled its head into Naruto's hand. It was snow white and the tips of his tails were pitch black. Its eyes were orange. Its nose was black. And the tips of his claws as well. He was wearing a white and black vest with the dark country symbol on the chest and on the back as well. The kitsunes were a direct descendant of the Kyuubi, but they were less powerful and they were friendly as well. But they were really smart. They were able to communicate with each other through small, silent calls. As Naruto had met with the head of the kitsune then in the dark forest and communicate understanding between them with hand gestures and sudden movements because there wasn't any real translator between kitsune and human. As Naruto sealed the scroll into the back of the vest that the kitsune was wearing, as Naruto ruffled his head, Kitsune enjoyed this treatment even though it made him look like pets. The tall blonde man in front of him was friendly, so he was friendly back to the blonde man, who he understand was an important person in darkness. The fox balanced back on his 2 back legs as he wiggled his 5 tails. Yip yip. Hurry now, said Naruto. He licked the palm of Naruto's hand before rushing back to darkness. Oddly enough, it reminded Naruto of Suki, Kurama, the holder of Mania, the weirdest person Naruto has ever met. That title kind of went back and forth between Suki and Suwaki, as Naruto chuckled at that thought, as he brought a smile to his face. But he had other things to do right now. As he turned his head, there was a lot of things to be done, and he had to get rid of this masked man, because he was messing with his plan too much and just putting everything in a stir. He should have taken care of him a long time ago, but now was the time. But first thing first, Konoha. But guys, to be in episode right here, if you want to see this person, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification and stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also guys, I posted a brand new series over an anime king of what if Naruto was told about the Uzumakis from the beginning. So go ahead and check out that and enjoy. And yeah guys, over on Anime King 3, I posted a brand new episode of what if Naruto was neglected with Joshin seal inside of him. And if you're new, yes, you heard all of that correctly, you're not mistaken. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And turn on that bell notification, stay posted, see whenever I post. And comment down below and tell me if you're new so I can reply and talk back to each and every one of you. And greet you for joining the channel. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we get the hell out of here? See you guys tomorrow. Peace.